Hello, hello. Thank you for watching, or just, I guess I should say, checking out this review of Empire of Corpses, or aka Shisha no Teitoku. Um, the sci-fi historical epic. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Aiden. We do lots of variety, usually of the weeb variant on this channel. And we're doing a review for this specifically because this was part of our movie reaction of the month, where every month we check out a movie and we do a full-length reaction, which you can find on this channel. And then afterwards, we talk about it a bit. This month, I randomly chose this movie. And I don't know. I think it's okay. Maybe better than okay. I think it's good. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. Well, let's start with the positives. I think for me, probably the most impressive thing is the animation quality. I thought it looked gorgeous throughout the whole film. Yes, like maybe the only issue was some of the 3D CG people or corpses looked pretty bad. They weren't blended in enough, which were kind of distracting, and it's definitely something you need to do when you're using 3D CG on background people. Make sure it blends in a bit more. But overall, I thought it looked gorgeous. 3D CG on like environment stuff and the lights like that looked really good. The animation was solid, and obviously there were some moments where it really shone, like lots of fight scenes, lots of Burnaby's fight scenes to be exact. The samurai armor corpses fight scene was really cool with Burnaby and our Japanese ally. The sumo match was like oddly like really good. Burnaby versus the Frankenstein monster tribute was really good. Um, yeah, I thought the animation looked great. Besides the few hiccups. Now, sadly, the 3D CG is always like super noticeable when it's bad, but I didn't mind it too much. I thought it looked cool. I also really dug the aesthetic. And if you haven't watched the movie and you heard me introduce it, you're like, Aiden, what's a historical sci-fi? Well, this is based in the 1800s, and I consider it a science fiction because in this universe, they have created technology to reanimate corpses, and basically they're used for manual labor in this world. I think it's really cool. Obviously, there's some moments where it feels awkward because like they have all this amazing technology and they're still riding on carriages and ships. They haven't invented airplanes yet. And like when you go into a lab of like a corpse research lab, it looks like ridiculous with like those super computers and stuff. Like it's a little odd that they haven't been able to advance too much, but that's the aesthetic, right? If they had all that stuff, then what's the point of it being based in the 1800s? You gotta like enjoy the style. I like the character designs of a lot of the characters, and yeah, aesthetic wise, I thought it was pretty cool. Characters, I like the main cast a lot. If you've watched my reaction, you know my boy Burnaby was my favorite. He's the bro character, the tough guy character. Lots of cool fight scenes. Man, I don't know how he survives. He just taints everything. He's just like the cool guy that I really enjoyed. And then my other favorite character was I mean, I think you know was the woman whose name I don't remember. I was trying to stall to doodle her name, but then I was like, how do I spell this again? It's been like a week since I watched this, by the way. But the very hot, I was about to spoil a bit, a hot lady that we used as the thumbnail, like the other side character, obviously. Um, yeah, she's cool. I mean, like I said, I think she's actually like gorgeous, like no cap. Just by looks alone, maybe one of the top. I don't know. For some, maybe it's just the style of the animation, but I was kind of losing my mind. Like, That's like Takano level. Well, probably for most people above Takano, since there are very few Takano fans. But anyway, I digress. Hadalei, that's her name. Okay, yeah, yeah, she was great. Main character, he was good. I didn't love him compared to his really strong side cast, but at least he was very easy to understand his motives and stuff, and his character progression, while kind of predictable, was still good. And another point for the positives, though it isn't exactly a positive for me, the idea, and it's always cool when they do this, when they take like the old world and re-envision it, like taking the 1800s and kind of molding it to their own image. Like, I'm sure if someone more historically knowledge would probably enjoy it more, like seeing like Ulysses S. Grant and like the state of like Afghanistan and stuff during this time. And I think it could be like very interesting for people who really know that stuff. I couldn't really appreciate it as much because I don't really know history, so, but I think that's possibly a plus. Now, Aiden, what are the negatives? For me, the biggest negative of the story was kind of the story itself, or maybe that's not the right way to put it. Just how it's structured. If I had to describe my experience watching this movie, one word like easily comes to my mind, and it is exhausting. I was so tired by this movie, and yes, it's a 2-hour movie. It's long, but it really felt long. And it's just the way this was structured, because this isn't just like your, like a, I mean, it is a story, but its scale is really grand. Like, you can instantly tell it's based off a novel, and there's just like so many like plot points and how it moves from plot to plot that just drags it out. Like, there are multiple points of the movie where I'm like, oh, it really feels like we're heading to the climax. Then we hit the climax and I'm like, oh, nice. And then they're like, oh, wait, actually, a new villain appears, new objective appears. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I check the timer and it's like only 30 minutes in, and I'm like, okay, I understand why this is long. Because you really feel like the arc's moving, and it's just too, and kind of ironically, it's like compact into a 2-hour movie, like with such short periods of time transitioning to these like brand new storylines, which makes it feel longer than it is. I think it would honestly be better if this was like a mini series or even an anime series, just a bit more spacing, because you go from like mission to Afghanistan to find a terrorist creating his own nation, to Japan, to freaking Frankenstein's monster, hijacking shit, to the British guy being evil. Like, it's just too much. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I just think it like translates it doesn't really translates well into a movie, in my opinion. I don't know. It was just, it just didn't feel good. Another thing I don't like, and it's just a general thing that happens. I don't know if I can really say it's an issue for this, but I honestly didn't. I can't say I fully understood what was happening, and this happens with sci-fi fantasy when you introduce elements that aren't real. But this was like really weird because I feel like I got the general plot points, and like I got the ending. I got like the final fight, the motives of the villains, etc., etc. But for some reason, I still felt like I didn't understand what was happening. And I think that it's just how the story's written or how it comes off. Like, or it's like confusing to the point where even if you understand it, it still feels like you don't understand it. Overcomplicated maybe is the right way to put it. That's how I felt, and I felt like I generally got the story for the most part. Sometimes it took me a bit to understand what they were saying, and I was like, oh yeah, I now understand. some parts I just like don't, but it, yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on the author of the story. Some fantasy or sci-fi stories do it well, some don't. Some don't, but then like have like a glossary and shit afterwards to like tell you. Some like leave it vague because they're building a really big world through a lot of books, so it doesn't really matter. But for a singular experience, because there is sequel films to this, though from like the looks of Wikipedia, just not even reading, just looking at the poster seems extremely different. I think it's more on the themes of it, but yeah, it did feel overcomplicated for me. Um, and you know, a one way to solve that is just to have a rewatch sometime later. But then we go back to the experience of the story, the the how exhausting and draining it feels, which makes me honestly not want to watch it again. So combining overcomplicated and really long feeling is a pretty bad combination for me. Um, then you know, I'll be honest. I'm not too big of a fan of the themes of the story. This kind, sorry, that started rants music. Let me turn that down a bit. Um, yeah, it's basically focusing like any story that deals with like the soul and stuff. It's basically what makes a human, blah blah blah, what makes a soul. It's a very well done topic, and it is fascinating to a point. You know, a lot of well-known animes have definitely covered this topic. It's just something I'm not really interested in anymore. So this whole philosophy stuff about researching the soul, while I did find it interesting how they identified a soul, how it adds like it has weight to it via the feelings and stuff. It was interesting, but at the same time, I'm kind of over it in my preferences and stories, themes like that. So, which was the core of the story. So obviously, I wasn't going to enjoy it as much. Soundtrack, I don't know. It was passable because I don't remember it, but I don't remember hating it either. Voice acting, I think, was good. I was actually like, looking at the dub a bit after going through the movie, just because I have a dual audio version, and the dub actually sounds kind of lit. I usually don't listen to dub at all, but maybe it's because like everyone's British. It sounds pretty cool. Um, but yeah, dubs. Or I didn't listen to the dub. The original cast seemed fine. I honestly, if it's not Mickey Ito, I usually don't care about the voice actor. So it's just a Mickey Ito track. Um, and yeah, I don't know. My overall rating is it's good ish. Don't love it, don't hate it. And I do think maybe if you're more into history, you might like it more than me. That might be a big appeal to it. Um, but it's definitely interesting for good or bad. It is an interesting watch. I don't necessarily. I'm not gonna say you need to watch it or it's a must watch or whatever. But if anything sounded interesting to you, then maybe check it out. Again, you can check it out on my channel. Watch along with me. If you want. If not, then whatever. But yeah, that's Empire Corpses. A random choice. So thank you for checking out this review. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on the movie too. If you have any, and if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. We watch anime stuff and movie stuff on this channel regularly. So maybe you'll find something you like. If you liked this, maybe. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and maybe I'll see you again sometime in the future. Bye for now.